Welcome to some One Piece action. If you're new to the channel, please give us a subscribe. And if you're a returning viewer and have not subscribed yet, please give us a subscribe. It definitely helps the channel grow. All right, we got the Jinbe out here in these streets, these One Piece streets. What was the Son of the Sea or something like that? Yeah, it is what it is. Now, Jinbe technically has like a few engines and stuff like that, but that's besides the point. We're not talking about what we built. And what we built is something that, in my personal opinion, is more on the aggressive end of the spectrum. I'm like, wow. And you know me, forgive me, I say this probably a little too much. I feel like Jinbe's underrated, right? Oh, look at that play. This is actually a play my friend came up with, and I thought it was so cool. Well, not specifically Arlong, but the Mihawk play. He's like, wait a minute, a lot of these characters have slash and can be summoned with Mihawk. And with Jinbe's ability, you can restand it, ultimately negating the downside of Mihawk. And I was like, oh, because that's the benefit of having another mind to look over what you're doing. So like for me, I'm relatively good at like seeing the strength of something and, you know, looking at a couple of systems and engines and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean, you know, I can just quickly. I love this is what I'm talking about, aggressive, especially with that Jinbe now on the board. We're going to allow all the other merfolks to just start swinging on characters immediately, and this is the specialty of green. So let me take a step back. Yeah, so it's like when you know your mind is focused on something for the most part. So sometimes there's just things you don't get to see. Sometimes there's just things you don't get to catch, you know. So I was just like, that was a good call. So yeah, I think that Mihawk works wonders with Jinbe. Anyway, so green is all up to me. Green's advantages is always having an attack target. Let me not say always, right? It never really panned out that way, but for the most part, to consistently have an attack target, which really drains your opponent's resources, because it's either they lose the board or they protect the board by countering out. That's kind of an early punk rotten, but I guess they want to race us a little bit. So yeah, I'm like, a lot of these well, I'm not gonna say a lot, but enough of the merfolks have resting abilities, as well as being able to attack characters on the turn that they're played. And then that Jinbe himself right there just gives that automatically. So if the merfolk doesn't have that, well, guess what? Now they do. And you know, you can just be very aggressive. So right now our opponent only got 2 cards in their hand. We have a handful of cards, goodness. And that is the bad thing. If you have too many cards, Jinbe cannot use his ability, so that's something to keep in mind. So we have a Mihawk play. We have that 3-drop Arlong, so we could catch a double summon, and gives us enough Dawn for potentially just another summon in general. We could stop their blocker from being able to block, so we're gonna go for a search. Me personally, I'm surprised to see that there's these moments where Jinbe can have more than 6 cards in hand, because I'm thinking to myself, man, you're more than likely gonna have 6 or less, because 6 is a high threshold and you need to counter out. But to see all these cards in hand is kind of nuts. But anyway, the other spectrum of Jinbe, outside of what I feel like is you're able to be a very aggressive leader, is the fact that you know, when his engine is going, he always has an active Dawn, which means in theory, you don't need to play the amount of 2K counters the average deck would play. You can actually just use 1-drop events. And as you know, 1-drop events, some of them are 2K pumps, but with effects, you know, additional effects, and others are 3K pumps or 4K pumps with conditions. So more effective defensive options. So it's just like, okay, once again, I always kind of call it out, and I get it. It also kind of depends on the deck that you're talking about, but what you call it, it's like, oh, that's an interesting play. So, I don't think enough people play defensive events in general. That's just how I feel. But I also understand you want to be as Don efficient as possible, and a lot of people feel that the Don efficiency comes from what you call it, playing your curve. It's like it's better to just play your curve if you want to be Don efficient. So I was like, okay, it is what it is. But if people can incorporate more defensive events, I think it'll take them further in their One Piece success rate. So yes, I feel like Jinbe has an advantage with being able to have an active Don to play defensive. My brain was about to say, kind of wanted to say jutsus, defensive jutsus, but hey, that was an old card game, Naruto. Defensive events. They do run the risk of losing this turn, but I always feel comfortable, can't help it. Like, I would have tried to get the blocker kid off the board. Oh, by the way, Arlong, that new Arlong is a 4-drop in your hand, so when the effect works, right now I don't think attached Don can count as rested cards, but when the effect works, you can basically do Mihawk into that 7-drop Arlong. I wonder what the opponent is thinking about, because for the most part, either they're AFK or they have it and they're debating. But sometimes you have to think to yourself, when it comes to your options, what's cheaper? Is it cheaper to just take the hit, or is it cheaper to, play cards? And that might not make enough sense, because taking a hit is one card traditionally, but it's just like either you're comfortable chucking 2 cards, but if you're chucking 3, it's like kind of self-explanatory. Take the hit, unless you're gonna lose, then that changes the narrative. It looks like we have enough to go for lethal. But it's like I said, I also fear, like, we don't. Now you just, we have the 3-drop Arlong when you think about it. If we keep enough Don for that, we can play that, and hopefully it does work on the rested card, because then it could become active and then can't go rested again, I would imagine. Oh, we're just gonna go for the game. Ooh, 2 bricks. Mathematically, that was in your favor, right? Because it's like you swing for 7. They need 2K, 1K. It's plausible to have 2K, 1K or 2K, 2K. But at the same time, you think to yourself, well, this late in the game, they probably got some bricks. And then since they had the shanks, they definitely had 2 attacks. But that's a 10-drop, so we could counter out. So yeah, getting rid of the blocker kid on board definitely would have allowed us to have another turn, and that would have been the game. So to me, that was an unnecessary risk, but a win's a win. Now, it's interesting how Belo has this relevancy now, and to my knowledge, somebody had said on the internet, Belo does good against blue purple Luffy. So that's like part of the reason why she has this surgence. I mean, let me put some respect on Belo. People were always playing Belo, trying to, be relevant with the leader, right? It's not like it disappeared completely, but I guess in terms of expectations on how far you're going to go with the leader, I think definitely now it's just a different ball game. Now we have 3 copies. I don't know what that guy's name is, but maybe he'll come in handy, especially to chuck cards that we don't need, just for the sake of board removal. But Belo is not necessarily the leader. Is not necessarily the leader you want this to be an option for, because 4 drops, dominantly 4 drops. So it's like I'm gonna discard a whole card from my hand to just pop a 4 drop. Nah, you want to get rid of big bodies. But hey, do what you do the right plays that's going to bring you to victory. Don't be greedy. But it just hurts. Yeah, let that go. Gaining value. I'm telling you, gaining value from low drops. It's just so fantastic. Okay, this is good. Several pokes. So if Belo wants that card to stay alive, they would have to invest too much, because that's a minimum of 3 attacks. You see, at this point, you should let it go. And I get it. It's too scary, because if you don't let this go, okay, I'd rather them attack this instead of attacking my board. But then, it was a bad situation for Betty no matter what, to be honest. Because if that character goes, then it's the rest that are just swings to life, and they're already at 2. They're already at 2, so it's like it was a bit of a lose-lose for them no matter what. It's crazy. I can't really see them coming back from this. Well, that's a good play in general when you think about it. But yeah, I can't really see them coming back from this. And this is the power of being able to rest characters and attack them. That little combo of rush and stuff like that. We don't even need to do all that. We probably can. No, you can't go for a game. Well, technically you could. That's just too risky, because we got both the Jinbes to attack with. But if we go for the board, I feel like that's going to cement our victory. Yeah, just swing regularly. Oh, we're going for life. And then we summon and pop. Yeah, see, this is kind of tough. This is kind of tough. That ability to just rest their characters and start swinging. Belo gets a lot of its board half of it. Let me not say a lot. Half of its board presence from trigger summons, as well as deploying from the hand. But if you're going up against a deck that can just immediately start biting at your board, instead of only having the one option to attack life, that just changes everything. It changes too much. So right now this matchup just look completely one-sided. But yeah, your characters are weak. My characters can rest and attack your characters on the same turn unplayed. It's too much. Yep. Even if you we have counter power in our hand, and we have 3 life cards. That's intense. That's too many resources overall. That's another thing. I think this build has a lot of counter power in general. Understandable. And here's a Lucci. Lucci's a funny deck to go up against. That look at this hand. That's interesting. So 2 ways for Jinbe to have too many cards in hand. One way is to take enough life early in the game, or the other way is to draw no early game cards. So you can't really play anything out, thinning out your hand. Yeah, I didn't expect Lucci protecting that. Now, being that this is a black deck, especially Rob Lucci, is like, okay, let's see if we're gonna lose our character. But hey, it's great that we have these effects to just start swinging on their board. Because it's like, in order to take my character off the board, you're gonna have to play about 2 cards minimum, right? So 2 cards out your hand, one to put on board, one for the cost. Oh no, he said I'm just gonna swing big. Okay, he went. Okay. He's like, I'm not spending all these cards out my hand. I get it. I respect it. That was a very economical play. Okay, we can just get that off the board. And it's funny because it's like, it seems like it's not worth it. But being that this turn, the only thing this character can do in terms of attacking is to attack a character, it's just like, yeah, let's just use him to attack the character so our leader can attack at life. Now, unless, and it's not even surprised, I used to really think to myself, like, man, this must be a really bad outcome. And not all the time, sometimes. But it's like I said, once upon a time, if the deck list consists of a lot of bricks, then that's not necessarily drawing bad, that's the deck, right? So if Lucci is either saving a bunch of combo plays in their hand, or they have a bunch of bricks, but it's a Lucci deck at the end of the day. But to see Lucci at 2 life at this point in the game and have that many cards in hand, it just seems crazy. Yep, give Jinbe character rush. And now we can just keep beating up their board. That's 2K, 1K if they want to give that to us. And that should be gone. That's too many cards. I would say a duplicate. And then boom. Now we got our active Don for our event. And we got a pseudo big body. 8,000 power is great, but cost 6 is not high enough to really sustain yourself on the map. Classic 4-drop Lucci stuff. So yeah, this is where like they start pooping cards out their hand for these combo plays. Well, that's gone easy. It's like I guess character rush is going to be it's going to be the necessity for green. I feel like at this point, yeah, character rush is just going to be the necessity for green to help it keep up, because if I don't have to attack your life, you're starving of resources, cool. And if you have all this stupid board removal plays, it's like, okay, I can answer your board with attacks at least. If you're not going to give me very easy board removal cards, then let me just keep attacking their board. Right. So it's like, I think most green removal, the characters need to be rested. So if that's my mechanic, now give me another mechanic to help me with their board, and I mean, rest. Well, that's what resting is for, and then you swing. But then it's just like, nah, that's too many cards. I need to keep something on the board for one turn, then I need to rest it, and then I might not even have a Don to give it the power to swing and get something off the board. So yeah, this little system right here, play, swing, play, swings, play, swing, and then Jinbe restand, I think is very healthy. I don't think it's broken, considering what's out there. I think this is very healthy. But basically the point of what I'm saying is, I think more green cards need to come out with character rush, or I should say character rush plus the ability to rest. And if your leader, like let's say they come out with some like more mink support, then it should be your leader rest, and then you just got character rush or something. So you see how like Jinbe doesn't rest? Then let his cards have character rush plus rest. And then carrot rest. Well, okay, give me character rush then, and maybe a sprinkle of something else. Yeah, you're on fumes, my boy. Fumes, I say. Cherry helps get back a combo piece. It must suck having to play your 2Ks, right? But hey, you wanna remove things off our board constantly, so it is what it is. That's another thing. Like, I'm not saying it's the wrong play, but if you tunnel vision on board removal to where you're having to get rid of your 2K counters, it might not be the best outlook. Sometimes you have to just attack the board to remove the board. But then again, in this matchup, like I said, Jinbe is restanding our characters, right? Leaving them active. So that's a level of complication. Yeah, and this should be the game. Yeah, can't defend that. Well, OG. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.